Hi, Sandeep. Yeah,
Hi everyone. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. So let the people join. Then we will start the demo session. Suresh, let me know when to start.
sure,
Okay.
sure, sure. Yeah, I will wait for a few more minutes. Um, uh, yeah, hopefully we'll get more participants.
Meanwhile, I'll
Yeah,
share my screen. Let the
sure,
people
sure,
join.
sure, sure, sure,
Then
sure.
we'll start.
Yeah, yeah. Hi all. We have Mohit here, the Workday finance trainer. He's a seasoned trainer, and he's having around more than 10 years of experience on finance domain. He'll be giving us the demo session. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mohit, please go ahead.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hello all. So for me, thanks Suresh for introducing me. So I'm having the overall 10 plus years of experience on the world of ERP and in the Workday ecosystem, almost 7 years. Before that, I was in other ERPs. So this Workday basically it is a cloud-based software, okay, cloud-based platform that most of the organization use to manage their workforce, finances, and business operations. It's very useful now in terms of finance. It is booming. So nowadays, since this is a cloud-based application, okay, so if you see it is a software as a service, SaaS application or SaaS platform. It can be accessed through a web browser or mobile app and very easy to maintain. Okay. So it doesn't have any kind of hardware at the back end. Okay. Like in other ERPs, there is a on-premise servers are there, but this is a cloud-based. So it is basically uh, you need to manage or access through the web browser. You need not to install any software on a computer. It can be accessed directly through a web browser. Okay, so like I'll show you how the Workday screen looks like. So it is like this. So I have opened the web browser in a Chrome and I have opened the application. So this is how the application is looks like. So most of them are have seen the applications, or most of them who are very new. Okay, so they just know this is the application. This can be accessed through the web browser. Okay, so how to log in, how to navigate, and what are the things required. So all those things we would be covering as a part of our training. Okay, how to use these applications. Okay, what task we need to use to create. Since we will be doing the training for finance, so we would be covering all the modules of finance. Let me open the outline, training outline. So we would be covering of introduction to Workday. In that, we would be covering the core concepts. Okay, how you will navigate, what are the functional areas, and who is the user who has logged in. Suppose, for example, I have logged in here. Okay. Now, if you see, I have logged in with this ID called Tammy. Okay. So Tammy is the person who has logged in. Now, in a real production or real live environment, when you're actually on board to the project, then you will be having your own credentials. Okay. You will be having your own credential, then you will be seeing your own name here. So this is the test environment which we would be using to do our training. Like here, if I go here, this is the profile. So under profile, what are the options we have? Okay, suppose I go to profile of Tammy, then I can see, okay, she is a chief diversity officer. Okay. So in your case, you will be having some appropriate position like senior software engineer or program manager. Okay. Or technical, from technical team or integration team. Okay. Or functional consultant. So likewise, your designation would be coming here, and you would be having your own location which for which you have taught tagged in who is a manager, what is the employee ID. Okay. And currently for her, 21213 is the employee ID for her. And this is the position. Okay. And she is a regular employee. Some are contractors. So for that, the type would be contractors. Okay. And and some are intern, they are doing interns. So for the type is different. And what is a workspace? So this will be the location of the for which you have tagged. Okay, like your company is on Hyderabad or Bangalore. So based on that, your location of workspace, the address would be populating here. What is the hire date? Okay, so all those informations, phone number and all those information you can see it from here. And what is the personal, what is your date of birth? Okay, so all those personal information you can see here in your My Profile tab. So all we would be covering in our training. So this is the part of My Profile, but here this is the global search. Here you can search anything. Okay. Suppose you want to create a company, you want to create a journal, you want to create a supplier invoice. Okay. Or anything you want to do, you need to use this global search. This is called a global search. So this is the part of the introduction, so that we would be covering in the training. So I'm just giving the very high level, as this is our first demo session. So how the workday environment looks like. Okay, in the training we would be covering what are the types of organization, what is reorganization, what is required while creating a company. Okay, suppose uh, there is a project which is there is one legacy system which is not on Workday. Now they want to move into Workday. So what are the things required? Okay, what would be the company name? How many accounts, ledger accounts we need to create? Okay, or what are the chart of accounts or chart field? Here in Workday we call it work tags. So what are the work tags we need to create? Okay, so all those are coming from the business user. So there is an initial requirement gathering calls are there between the customer and between our team. Our functional consultant are involved in it, and all the other stakeholders also involved, and they are getting the requirement. So requirement gathering they have taken. Once the business requirement document is signed off by the business users, then you are starting the actual implementation. Okay. So in our training, I would be covering which is required from the starting. Okay. What is required? Like very first thing is we need to create the setup. To create the setup, we need to create a company, create the ledger account. So all those part which are part of the configuration, so that we would be doing. Okay. Now here in this chapter, we would be covering the financial accounting configuration, like what are the fiscal schedule, what is accounting calendar. So for example, I'll just giving you one layman example to you. Suppose you are living on rent, okay, or your company is on lease, okay. Now company needs to pay the rent. Now, let's say the company is Walmart. Okay, so this is my company, which is as Walmart. Now, this company needs to pay the rent now or need to book this particular rent in our books of record or in our ledger or in our GL or in the workday system. Okay. So what is the information we are having? We are having date. So suppose we have given the rent today. So today is 3rd of July. Okay. So this would be the date. Now year is 2026, today's date. And company name is Walmart. And the rent amount is, let's say we are paying $1,000. Okay. So $1,000. So this company is based on US. So the currency would be USD. If it is based off Singapore SGD, or if it is based off India, then INR. Okay. Let's say this is based off US. So the currency is USD. Now, in order to book the rent, I need the ledger account. Okay, in which account I need to hit those particular entries. Okay, so the journal is creating here, and the debit amount and credit amount is there. So 2 lakhs are there, debit lakh and credit lakh, both has to be in balanced. So we are creating a journal here. So how to create a journal, how the journal page looks like. Okay, what are the other informations are required? Suppose this particular rent I need to book from some department also, I need to give department ID. So what would be the department ID? What we call the department here in Workday. So we call it as a cost center. In Workday, we call it cost center. In some other ERP, we call it a department. But in Workday, it is a cost center which is used to track all the information for the department. Okay. So here we need to create the fiscal calendar. Okay. Suppose this particular date is the period is July. Okay. Period or month. Now here in finance, we call it fiscal year. Okay. So fiscal year is 2026. Okay. So period is July and our fiscal year is 2026. So how to create those calendars? We need to create the calendar, right? Because suppose some companies are following, taking the calendar from Jan to December. Okay. And some companies are doing the calendar for, let's say, Indian company mostly. They are starting from April. April is the first period. Okay. And March is the last, so closing is happening in the March. So we need to decide all those things in the fiscal schedule and the accounting calendars. Okay, what are account posting rules? What are translation rules? So some are looking into this. They are familiar of these terms because they are maybe some people, some students are from MBA background or some are very new. So don't worry about it. Okay, we will cover each and each portion as we will consider that you will be starting from the day one out from the scratch. Okay, how to create a ledger? What is ledger? What are the accounting entries? Okay, so this is the part of our financial accounting configuration. Then how to create a journal, how to post the journals. So suppose you have created this particular journal, this entry you have created. So suppose Mohit has created this particular entry and my manager is Suresh. So Suresh is going to approve this particular entry. So one person can create the entry and one person is to approve it. We cannot have both the person doing the same task. So to maintain the segregation of duty or to maintain the proper audit, we need to have separate person in the real world. Okay, so that whenever any SOX audit or any audit came, so there won't be any question why the same person is creating the journal and he is the only one who is approving his own journal. Okay, so we are maintaining the segregation of duties. How to maintain those duties? So those will be the part of your journal approval workflows. Okay, multi currencies are there. Suppose I want to, suppose a person is went for on-site, okay, for from an official trip. Now they have, he has gone for official trip. He went for US from India. He has booked the hotel, he has booked a room and he has taken the meal. He has also taken the Uber ride. So all those amounts he need to reimburse from the company, right? Whenever he comes back to the home country. So once he come back, he need to reimburse all those amounts. So here in this case, the transaction would be, since he is creating the transaction, his base currency is INR. Okay. But the amount which he paid during his official trip or company visit in USD. So there is a currency conversion rate would be there. So this is the part of the multi-currency. How to create those, how the exchange rates are coming. Okay. So today the exchange rate of dollar is 90 plus, right? So how in system, how it is capturing. Okay, what is the exchange rate if someone is going to Europe, then euros we need to reimburse. Okay. So all those currency conversions part would be cover under here in the multi-currency. In the fifth chapter, we would be having the concept of EIB. So before EIB, I will show you the page, how the journal page looks like. Okay. So let me open the tenant. So we call it this tenant, okay? So here we have logged in with Tammy. Now I will log in with the person who is having full access of the financial. Okay. So the person name is Teresa Serrano in this tenant. So I have logged in using her proxy. Now I will show you how you can see the create journal page looks like. Okay. So here, if you simply search this create journal, it will open this particular page for you. Let's say I want to enter the journal or I want to create the journal for global modern services. So I'll select that particular company and associated ledger. So how to create all those things? So this is the part of the configuration. Okay. This is the transaction. Okay. Once the configuration is done, then only you can start your actual transaction. Okay. Suppose let's say I'm taking today's date. Now I'll take the source, whatever the source, I'm creating manual entry. So manual. So like I want to show you how you can book your ledger, how to select the ledger account, what is the debit lag, what is the credit lag, how to submit the journal. Okay. And suppose here I can see so many accounts, how to create all those. Suppose I have a requirement to have 222 account. Okay. But I cannot find here. I do not find. So how to create this account here so that I need to book because I need to book under this particular account 222. Okay. So I'll show you how we can use the existing one. Okay, and suppose let's say I'm creating the journal for $1,000. That is for my rent. So I'll just write here in the memo office rent for July 2026. So this is a free text field. I can write anything. This will be used for your official tracking purpose. For what purpose you have created this particular journal. Okay. Now there are some other fields like for which location you want to track. Okay, is there any funding for you want to track for the fund? You want to track any department or cost center here. So these are not mandatory, but you can make it mandatory. Okay, how to make those things mandatory? That would be covering in the training session. So currently we are creating a 2 lines of journal. Okay, if you see there are 2 lines. Now there is a requirement to create a 20 lines of journal. So I cannot manually click plus and 20 times I need to go do. It is a very tedious task for me and it is a time consuming. So there is a concept here in Workday. We call it EIB. That is Enterprise Interface Builder. So this is used to load the data in a bulk. Not only for the transaction data, you can also load the your configuration data as well. Suppose you want to load 100 of ledger accounts. You can create 100 of ledger account using their spreadsheet template. So there are some templates which are generated using EIB. So you can do that. You can import also and you can extract also from Workday. Okay, so this is comes under your chapter number 5. In chapter 6, we have the security and business process. So what are the business process? Who can create journal? Who can view journal? Okay. Suppose this lady called for which we have logged in is Teresa Serrano. She can create a journal. Okay. And Tammy cannot create a journal. That's why we have taken a proxy of her. Why Tammy cannot create a journal? Because she doesn't have proper access. So the person should have proper access or proper security groups they have, proper roles should have, proper permissions should have. So in order to learn all those things, this will be the coming in this chapter, security and business process. Business process is your the workflow, approval workflow. Who can approve, who can initiate, who can deny, who has the authority to do the cancel of approval. Okay, so all those approvals part are coming under your my task. Okay, I'm taking a new window so that I will show you where you can see the approvals, where the approvals are coming. I'll just cancel this and I will click on the home button. So if you see this box, my task, here you can see what are the items which requires your action. Okay. So here you can see all those items which actually required your action. That means this is the required, it is completed, it is in progress, whether you want to complete or you want to attach any file here. So all those things would be coming over here. Suppose someone has created a purchase order. Okay, they want to purchase some Apple laptop or something. So they need to, it is required me to submit this particular transaction. Okay. So whatever the actionable items which required my attention are coming under the my task. So all are total 683 items which are having. In real production, you can see this minimum. It will not coming like this since you will be doing all those tasks once as and when your attention is required. Suppose this requisition is created. Now it is asking me to either you can okay it or can cancel it. Okay. So this would be your security and business process framework, how you can see all those things. Here comes the chapter number 7, the supplier management. Okay. In which it will give you the overview and it will have all the setup configuration which are required for the P2P cycle. Here the actual P2P cycle starts. So P2P cycle is procure to pay, and in which we have need to create a supplier, and after creation of supplier we need to create a supplier invoice, and once the supplier invoice is created we need to do the settlement, we need to do the payment. In other ERP, in Oracle Fusion or PeopleSoft, we call it as voucher, as and in Workday we call it supplier invoice. But more or less they are same. Okay. And other ERPs they have calling vendor, but here in Workday we call it supplier. Okay. So conceptually all the accounting concept will be remain same. Okay. Account type will be same. Your account type will be asset type. Okay. Liability. Okay. Equity, expense, revenue. So your concept will be same. Okay. Your trial balance report, balance sheet report. Okay. So those will be same. Okay. And the person who was came in from engineering background, not from MBA finance, then for them, we will explain you what are those asset, liability, equity types, what are trial balance report. Okay. What is balance sheet? What type of accounts come under balance sheets report? What type of accounts come under PLN report? That is profit and loss report. Because at the end, we need to see whether our company is generating a revenue or not. Okay. So for how to see those reports and how to download the report from the Workday, and is there any way to send the report to the stakeholders? Okay. So all those things will be comes under the financial reporting part. Now in the supplier management, we need to first create the supplier or vendor, then only we can create a transaction. Okay, so how to create those? What are purchase items? Suppose you want to purchase a laptop, but the laptop you cannot see in your tenant. So you need to create that particular item, right? Then only you can request it. Let me show you the page. Let's say I am today is my first day and my manager has asked me to create a requisition to purchase a laptop to start my work. Okay, I need to start my work, but I don't have laptop with me. What I'll do, I'll just search in the catalog. Okay, so you can see here, either you can search for goods and services. Okay, now I can search laptop, let's say. So here you can see we have the laptop, this particular item identify 100. So how this laptop is identified created? How to create this? This is the setup data, right? How these amounts are coming, how to create this purchase item. So all those things is the part of your this particular module. First you create in the setup, then only you can create a requisition, right? So how to create all those items? Suppose I am purchasing days, I will add this particular item in the cart. Okay. So this particular item is added. Now it went for approval. Now the purchase order will be created. Okay, the buyer will see who he will select the vendor, the proper vendor who can deliver this laptop in a particular timing, okay, and in a best rate. All those things are deciding on those in your this cycle, supply management. Then after creation of those invoices, we need to pay. How to pay those invoice, how to run the settlement, which bank account needs to use. Okay. In the similar lines, we are having customer module as well. Okay, we call it as C2C cycle, contract to cash or okay, customer. In this, we are creating customers. Like here, we have created supplier. We need to create a supplier and customer invoice. Here we are having sales item. Okay, like I'll show you how this page looks like. Suppose you want to create a customer invoice. Okay, so to create a customer invoice, first thing is you need to create a company. Okay, so we will create a company. Let's say I have created my company. So I'm taking an example of GMS. Now I need to select the customer. Which customer I need to select? I need to create first customer. Okay, then only I can create this transaction. Okay, so in this way, this comes for your customer part. So not only creation of customer, it has some other configurations also, revenue categories, sales item, okay, account posting rule. Then we have the validation, custom validations we have. Then we have next chapter, we would be in the 10th chapter, it is covering the banking and settlement. In this, you are paying the invoice, whether it is a customer invoice, whether it is a supplier invoice, or you want to take the reimbursement for your expense report. Now, you need to run the process, settlement process to pay. So it will hit some bank account, how to create those bank account, how to create those bank routing rule, okay, and how to create this settlement run using those bank accounts. So this part would be covering under this. Without bank account, you cannot do the payment. It is a mandatory. Okay. This is the very interesting chapter called expense management. So the example which I have told you, suppose you went for your official trip and now you have booked your airfare ticket, flight tickets. Now you come back to India and you need to reimburse your money. So what you will do, you will simply create a expense report. Okay. And when you create an expense report, you need to first see, write the a line item. Okay. You need to select the airfare. You need to select the hotel meal. Okay. For example, you are selecting air. So you have taken the airfare business class you have taken. So what is the total amount? Okay. Let's say you have of $500 is the your airfare. Okay. So what is the airline, which airline you have used, what is the ticket number, all those things you can write it here. Okay. So it will show you all the airline. So how we can create this expense item, how we can create this particular field as mandatory. Okay. How these values are coming automatically. All those things we would be covering in the training in this module. Okay, what is this reimbursement amount? After creation of expense report, what is the next step? So I would be covering your configuration part as well as the transaction part both. Okay, so both in this training, both I will be covering. Okay, so like expense report and how to run the settlement for this. In the 12th chapter, we would be having business asset. So as we need to register the asset, like laptop is also asset. So sometimes after some time, particular time, it will get depreciated. So how to create those depreciation cycle and all. So those comes under your business asset. In other ERP, we call it an asset management as a module, but here we call it business asset. So this is the general or generic reports for the finance, trial balance and standard reports. We are also having a balance sheet report, okay, and we are also having a profit and loss report, that is income statement we call it. Okay, so how to run these reports, we would cover the reporting part. Suppose we need to create a custom report. Our reports are not coming, uh, and I want some other custom fields as well. So how to create those custom reports? So those will be the part your Workday reporting. Okay. So in a very layman, we have this. First, we will see the thing how we can do the configuration. Okay, we will cover. We will have the use case, and based on the use case, what is required, what is the initial thing that is required whenever you are coming to any, you have cracked the interview for Workday, now you onboarded to the project. Okay, so what are the things required or expected from you? So all those things we would be covering. So here we have the work tags, then organize, what are organizations, what are work tags. Suppose you need to create a company. What is the use of company? Where it is in use? So company is the legal entity. Okay, it is a high level key. Without company, you cannot create any transaction. If you are creating an expense report, for that also you need a company. Okay, if you see, this is the company. If you are creating a journal, for that also we having a company. Okay, suppose you are creating a customer invoice or supplier invoice. Let's say supplier invoice. For that also you need a company and the supplier data. If you see, this company is star mark. Without company, you cannot proceed. So how to enable it, the company in your accounting, financial accounting. Okay, so these are the main steps. Fiscal schedule we need to create. Fiscal year we need to create. We need to create a ledger which actually store your accounting result. Okay. After creation of ledger, we need to create ledger year and period. Okay. And we need to first open the period also, because if the period is closed, we cannot create any transaction. Okay. If the period is closed, we cannot create any transaction. So period is very mandatory. So here the period is open. That's why you can able to create the journal. Okay. The period is a very important. So here it is giving the error like ledger line number 2, the account is required. But not only we cannot do without entering proper information. So Workday is very smart enough. It has their own validation as well. You cannot create any random data transaction. Okay, you need to have proper all the fields, and then you can able to submit this properly. And once this is submitted, so your journal is created, and this is the journal number, and this the status is posted. So how this journal is created? If I create my own company instead of GMS USA, how can I use my own company and create my own journal? So that we would be covering in a part of this training. Also the customer invoice, supplier invoice, business asset, expense report, every part. Okay. What are the account set? So we have used. So this is the example of asset type of account, income type, liability type, expense type. Okay. So here, if you see in this particular journal, you have used 1050 and 1220. Now, what is the type of this account? How to see? Okay, this is the type is asset type of account. So how to create those? Suppose I want to create 1020. So how to create those? So we can cover under this training. What are the type of journals? In Workday, there are two type of journals. One is manual and one is operational. How we can create a manual journal, how the operation journals creates automatically. So all those things in our training. So this is my training agenda, which has all your basic financial training. We starting from creation of company and other setup configuration, all the work tags, custom validations, work tag uses, related work tag, okay, journal creation, multi-currency journals, reversal journal, okay, how to copy the journal, how to cancel the journal, okay, how to create a journal in a bulk, lines of data, how to do the segregation of duties, how to create the security group, why this person is cannot see the journal page, so she can create journal, okay. Now there are some person who cannot run the task called create journal. So what are the things required if I need to give the access, how to give the access, okay, and what is the way to give the proper access, okay. So which report is used to see who can do what are the security groups. So those are the things comes under your security part, okay. Then this is our supplier management, creation of suppliers and other configuration data for the supplier as a part of PPP cycle, and then supplier invoice. And here we have the customer, and then bank routing rules, how to create a bank account, expense module, business asset module, your delivered reporting, how to run the delivered report. Okay, I will show you one report. Suppose I write trial balance here. Okay. So you can see it will be automatically coming. Okay, and simply you can click on give the required parameters. You can give the required parameters, and then for which year you want to run this particular report. Okay, and for which period you want to run, you can give the period, and then you need to simply click on OK. Once you click on OK, it will give you the desired result. How many, what is the balances for this account? Okay, what is the balances for that particular account? All those things you can see here. What is the total balance for this account? What is the beginning balance? So what are those parameters? So we will explain you in the training in a detailed way. How to run this report. Suppose this is the report. Now I want one more column, but this delivered report doesn't have. How to create a custom report and have one more column. Okay, so those comes under your this reporting. That we call it as custom report. Creation of custom report. So this is the part of my uh, demos today. So any questions from anyone?
Yeah, if any have any questions, you can bring up. Mohit is ready to answer. Ashish, Chaitanya, Monica, AKR. Yeah, I can unmute yourself and ask any questions, any doubts you have related to Workday Finance and the future scope for Workday Finance. You can ask. Ashish, you can. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monica.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you have any questions on Workday Finance? Mohit has briefed you, has given a overview on Workday Finance course. Uh, Chaitanya, any doubts related to Workday Finance?
You can ask any silly questions.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. You don't
it
have to
is
use.
not like we are not expecting anything. So I'm considering you all as a fresher.
uh,
Okay. And according to that, we would be starting your training.
yes. ARK, may know. Okay. Mm, I hope they don't have any questions. Yeah, let me share my screen. Yeah, we are providing. Yeah, Manjunath is there. Okay. Yeah, once you enroll into the course, you will be getting a dashboard like this where you can get the recordings, video recordings, assignments. Okay, in my assignments. Okay, and you can access the videos, and you can also attempt the assignments. So I'm basing on the topics we have covered, and we will be giving the tenant access as well. In the along with the course, you will be getting the tenant access. So, yeah. So all this comes as a package, and the course will be for about 30 to 45 days, and we will be covering all the topics mentioned by Mohit. He's a seasoned trainer, and coming to Workday, yeah, it is a promising career opportunity. It is giving nice career opportunities. So for those who are looking to come into software and willing to work on finance domain, Workday is the best possible option in the market, and they pay very good salaries for Workday consultants, Workday finance consultants in particular. So, if you have any questions, please come back to us. We'll be happy to answer all of your queries. Hi, Manjunath. Do you have any doubts? Uh, Hi, Manjunath.
Hi, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Have
Sir, regarding doubts means in this means consultant, there is no any coding and all, nothing is there.
there is no
Only
coding. Yeah, we don't have any coding in Workday Finance.
okay,
It's just functional knowledge, and
okay, okay.
mm,
Like a client support, we have to support the
yes,
uh,
yes, yes,
resolve
exactly.
the problem.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
basically, just to add, yeah, you need to do the configurations if it is an implementation project, or if it is a AMS project, then you need to support those projects. Okay. In the supporting, you need to ask them to create a some already uh, existing ledger account. You want to add a few more, or you want if the businesses grows, then you need to create a company, or
Okay.
if the supplier invoice some users has created and it went to error, then you need to resolve why it is in error. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So although some questions are coming in a Jira ticket or ServiceNow tickets, okay, and those tickets you need to resolve it.
Okay, sir. Okay.
hi, Monica. Do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hi, AKR. Could you please unmute yourself and ask any questions if you have any? Hi, Partha. You can also ask any questions.
Yeah. Hello. You can
Yeah.
hear me, right?
Yes, yes, we can hear.
Yeah. And here in finance, what is the difference between journal and ledger?
So journal is nothing, it is a accounting entry. Okay, the financial
Okay.
accounting entry that you need to create. And once this entry is posted, then it enters into the ledger. And in the ledger only, you needs to fetch the report from the for the this trial balance report or your balance sheet. So all those reports are taking the data from the ledger only. If you created a
it will
journal,
come
but
under
if the journal,
expense session.
if your
Yeah,
journal is created, but it is not posted, that means it is not entered in the ledger. So in your trial balance report, those entry will not come. Only the posted transaction will come. And the posted transaction is coming in the ledger. And from the ledger, you are pulling the report.
okay. Okay. But we are creating the customers invoice is separate and the supplier invoice are separate. Why we need to create separate? Like for creating the customer invoice is different and supplier invoice is different, right?
See, this altogether a different cycle. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose you have purchased, you are doing online purchasing from Amazon, let's say. Okay. You have purchased something from Amazon, now you are paying. Okay. You are
Yes.
paying the money, right? So that means
Yes. Yes.
the invoice gets generated, then you need to pay. Okay. Now someone is receiving the money. Okay. So here we are paying the money that comes under the AP, accounts payable, or your supplier invoice, or P2P. In the customer side, we are getting the money. So how to record those money that we have received from the customer? That's why it is having the customer invoice.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Understood.
So that we
Yeah.
would be covering once we have the actual
Yeah.
session started, and based on the
Yeah.
module, we
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Any of you have any preferences from when to start the actual session? What is the feasible time for you guys? Monica, Manjunath. Yeah. Hi, Manjunath.
Sir, hi, sir.
Yeah. So, what is your feasible time to join the session? And uh,
Sir, I will let you WhatsApp. I will text you, sir. I will
okay.
or I will.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be calling you all. Okay.
Okay,
To find out the interest and the willingness to join,
sir. I will
basing on
discuss.
the yeah. Mm, yeah. Thank you all. Thanks for the time. Thanks for coming. If you have any doubts, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to assist you and clear your doubts. Okay. Thank you,
Okay, sir.
Mohit. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks all. Thanks
Bye,
all.
Viv. Yeah.
Bye bye. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.